everyone, Star here, talking about the latest episode of RWBY, Episode 7, The Emerald Fortress, Part 2. The episode starts off with Glinda Goodwitch talking to Professor Ozpin, get it, Wizard of Oz, about how the students have all gotten into their pairs, which means we are still waiting on the teams of 4. But he seems to be preoccupied with watching RWBY, who, at the moment, is bickering with Weiss, essentially typical girl fighting among their differences, because, well, they started off as fighting and they're going to continue on fighting and butting heads for a while. From that, we move on to Blake and Yang, who make it to, I assume is the temple, which Glenda talked about in the beginning of the episode, where relics will be, and I guess each partnered team will have to take one. They decide to go with the pretty little pony. Next, John and Pyrrha are in a cave which they assume to be the temple, where John comes across what he thinks is a relic, but to his surprise it's actually a scorpion's tail, or rather a scorpion monster's tail. So then knows that goes back to Yang, where she's like, oh, a girl's screaming and a girl's in trouble because she's screaming. She didn't say he was screaming, but she was screaming. She heard a voice, and it turns out it's actually John screaming like a little girl, which I think he's actually done a couple episodes. So he's having trouble with that. Pyrrha, at one point, he actually gets flung off. And then Pyrrha was like, I gotta go run after him. And then Ying's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And that is where the scene basically ends with RWBY falling from the sky, which I assume she's falling to where Yang is, which means her and Weiss got into some trouble similar to maybe John's trouble. And that is essentially it for this episode. Again, it's an average episode. Most likely the next episode, it's typical. I can't really say much about it. Overall, I liked it. We're getting towards the shortness, but sooner or later we'll be getting to the teams of 4. Obviously, we're looking to get into more monster fights, which is good, because this is essentially what the show is about, for the most simple part. So that's basically it. Overall, good episode, like I said. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.